Hello, I'll be talking about a tool we created called Copy Editor, which does automated tests for Prose. To start, hi, I'm Katy Decorah. I am a front-end engineer on the documentation team at Mapbox. You may have heard my colleague Heather Sensen talk yesterday about Friends of the Docs. And so I'm going to be talking about a tool we created for our friends. I'm also from upstate New York. All right. Yeah. So here's what we built this year. We created, I wish it was like scanning and I could stand behind it like my platform for 2020. But these are all the rules we have across about 12 documentation sites, which are 12 repos. So some of my favorites here is checking for passive voice, looking for broken links. My personal favorite is non-descriptive link text checking, so no more click here. Yeah. All right, so our goals for this tool was to figure out how we can keep our writing consistent with so many products and so many doc sites and so many teams contributing to these doc sites. We also wanted to enforce our style guide and catch those easy to write, hard to spot typos like "to" or how words kind of mash together when you read them. And we also wanted to create a teaching tool. Yesterday, a lot of speakers talk about answering the why. Why do we want people to make this change? And we wanted to help in our error messages explain not only why you should change it and how you should change it. Okay, so this is kind of like what our tool looks like. It might be a little hard to read, sorry, it's a bad screenshot. So it runs on the command line. It can also run on a CI like Travis or Circle. So that means if any of these rules fail, copy editor fails, on a pull request, you can't merge it in. I love tests. So for instance, it's really hard to spot, but in this document, a person is writing the word great, and we've banned superlatives. We don't want that. We want to make sure that language is clear, and it's fine in marketing, but not so great in docs. We want the contributor to not use OSM. We want them to write OpenStreetMap out, because abbreviations are exclusionary. And also, simplify some text. Instead of writing in order to, write to. So how did we get here? So when I embarked on this project, I was like, oh, natural language processing. Oh gosh, lots of sweating. We came across Alex. So Alex is exactly what we needed. Alex catches insensitive and inconsiderate writing. It's open source, and I have to give a big shout out to Titus Wormer and many contributors to this project because it's fantastic. And so it also led me to learn about the whole content processing universe. There's retext for looking at natural language processing. There's remark for processing markdown, rehype for HTML, and then unified, which helps you process all those things. And when I looked into Alex, I learned that it uses a ton of retext plugins. So that's the natural language processor. And when I checked out these plugins that already exist, it was like, whoa, a gold mine of everything that we wanted and needed to help us enforce our style guide and keep our writing consistent. And so here's what we did, and what you could do too. We ended up forking Alex, because Alex uses this retext simplify and retext equality, and not any of the other plugins. So we loaded a ton of plugins in. We also disabled a bunch of rules globally. For instance, a word like disabled, in some contexts, can be really offensive, but a button in our context could be disabled. So there's a bunch of rules we knew that Mapbox used, and that was okay. We also created a common dictionary, so we could store the jargon, words that made sense to us, words that are more on the text scheme. So we were able to completely customize the tool. And then finally, we created our own plugin called Retext Mapbox Style Guide that helped us enforce even more rules. So things like number formats and how we want to do punctuation and all those good stuff. And so when we rolled it out, we wrote tons of tests. So each plugin had a test suite. We also just ran it on all of our repos, our repositories, to make sure that we didn't have any false positives, and we were able to completely customize each repo. So each repo has its own dictionary. For instance, like Android has completely different words than iOS, who has completely different words than a JavaScript library. So our tool isn't open source, because I didn't know I'd be talking about it today. But please check out Alex, and I can work on getting that live for you all. Okay, thank you.